ahead.
Yes, thank you, President Lamlani. There was some mention of the Amazon situation, and that came up this morning at the DuPage Mayors and Managers Legislation Committee. And what we talked about was the fact that there are 3 bills now that have been introduced into the Illinois General Assembly, 2 by Representative Bourne, B-O-U-R-N-E, the Republican from Litchfield, HB 4219, which completely repeals the Illinois estate tax, and then Representative Bennett, or also Representative Bourne, has HB 4258, which matches the Illinois estate tax with the federal. Representative Bennett has HB 4198 to match the state with the federal. Why is this important? Well, because Congress just increased the federal estate tax exemption amount to $11.2 million for an individual, or $22 million for a married couple, before you get hit with the federal estate tax. Illinois continues to have a $4 million exemption. So anyone here in Illinois who has more than $4 million of assets has a lot of incentive to get out of Illinois, or at least to get their taxable estate out of Illinois. And I know when we all run for office and pass our petitions around, it's a unique experience to be told by our neighbors every now and then, well, I don't vote in Illinois, so I can't sign your petition. You're like, what? But you live here. I'm like, well, I'm actually a legal resident of Texas, Tennessee, Florida, increasingly Michigan. And so Representative Bourne is trying to increase the $4 million up to the federal $11 million for single people and the $8 million to $22 million for married people. Why does this relate to Amazon? Well, I made a little presentation to the DMMC today. I said, imagine what we're doing. We're asking the richest man in the world, who controls the richest company in the world, to bring in the highest paid employees in the world to the state that most punishes exactly this type of people. Because just imagine all the employees from Amazon showing up and landing in Oak Brook and going to see their accountant and talking about their Illinois taxes. And their accountant would tell them what the accountant for any other successful business owner or investor or professional is told by their accountant: you better not die in Illinois, because you're going to pay millions of dollars of tax. And so they usually make a plan to move to Florida or another place that has zero estate tax. And so what Representative Bourne and Representative Bennett are proposing is get rid of the estate tax, or at least match it up to the federal exemption, so that we don't continue to drive people out of this state who have more than $4 million. And so at a time when we're being part of a program, part of an initiative to offer $2 billion to Amazon to please come here, it's contradictory to say, and when you show up, all of your executives will have to start plotting to leave before they die. Otherwise, they'll be hammered with our taxes. And the DMMC committee agreed, and we had 2 unanimous votes of the committee to support, number 1, the repeal bill, number 2, the matching bill, to get rid of this disincentive for Amazon to come to Illinois, because it's double-minded to say, come to Illinois and be part of our tax disaster. And I explained to the other mayors and managers who were there, a recent news article, you know how the banks running the tax havens keep getting hacked and people find the records of who's really using the tax havens? I found out that Penny Pritzker, who was the chairman of Barack Obama's presidential campaign, and who also was his commerce secretary, the records just came out from the hackers that in 2013 she transferred all of her trust into her children's name in the Caribbean. She will not pay estate tax in Illinois. We then talked about J.B. Pritzker's family and how they've recently sued the state of Illinois not to have to pay any income tax on their money they get from their Texas trusts. The great-grandfather, the foundation of the family money, put all the money into Illinois trust. The family then filed a declaratory judgment action in Texas to say, we are moving our trusts out of Illinois to Texas, and we want the Texas court to issue an order that these are now Texas trusts. They've then used that order to say that it's unconstitutional for the state of Illinois to consider the trusts to be located in Illinois anymore. Billions of dollars of the Pritzker family wealth. So when our leaders, not to forget Chris Kennedy, whose grandfather also paid no estate tax when he died because he based the merchandise mart corporation in the island of Fiji, which has no estate tax, when our leading candidates to lead Illinois don't pay estate tax on their billions, and yet any reasonably successful business person in Illinois or developer or medical professional can't escape being hammered above 4 million, we thought it was just the wrong message to send to the executive leadership of Amazon. Why would you move here to get pounded by our estate tax, particularly when our leaders aren't going to pay it either? And so we think we have broad support to urge that Speaker Madigan let these 3 bills out of their trap in the Rules Committee in Springfield. And there is time before April, which Manager Jennings mentioned, for our General Assembly to vote yes on these bills and for our governor to sign them to wipe out the estate tax, which, in the opinion of many of those at the DMMC today, is a real bar to Amazon saying yes to Illinois. And so I mention that because it links some of our structural flaws of Illinois to some of the opportunities facing us. And not only would it be nice to get Amazon, but it'd be nice to retain the 65,000 Illinois taxpayers who in the last few years no longer file tax returns in Illinois and who have moved their estates to Florida and Texas and other states that do not tax the fruits of their hard-earned labor. And so to treat their fruits of their labor just like the fruits of the multi-generational inherited wealth of the Kennedys and the Pritzkers, I think is a great priority for Illinois and for Oak Brook. So it was a great meeting today, and when it comes to the MMC board, we hope you'll affirm the recommendation of the legislative committee.
I will speak up for you, Ed, like I always do. All right, moving on to Jim.